following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Tier Tuesdays here, featuring the guys from the HighLowSports podcast. We appreciate you all joining us here once again to tier some things in the world of sports. It is DJ, joined as always by my co-host Kelsey. And Kelsey, last week we talked defense, so this week it's only natural leading right into the NFL season, especially with the Chiefs and the Lions kicking us off. We're going to talk a little bit of offense today and tier the NFL offenses.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of those offensive players, Travis Kelce himself, maybe not playing in that game. But you know what? There's going to be a whole lot more offense to go. Who knows? Kadarius Toney might break a few 100-yard records. I don't know. There's no telling what's going to happen in this game. It's Patty Mahomes and Jared Goff. It's two guys that have been to a Super Bowl at least once. So I don't know. It's going to be exciting.
Exactly. And you know what? Last time they played, it was arguably the highest scoring game of all time as well, too. I mean, the Chiefs were the first team to score 50 points and lose the last time they played. So definitely something to look out for. But without any ado, we're going to leap right into it. So here we are taking a look at the tiers, and we already filled in a few spots. We gave some spots for the unproven. We didn't want to try and be unfair to the rookie quarterbacks that had a lot of turnover. You look at the Colts, they flipped the offensive coordinator, the head coach. There's a lot of turnover there. Same with the Texans, bring in C.J. Stroud, D'Amico Ryans, Frank Reich and squad with Bryce Young and the Panthers. So they get a pass. They don't get the tier assault or prey or flowers today. We let them off easy. So that's going to leave us with 29 other teams to go through. And Kelsey, the rule is you get to go first this time as I went first last time. So you get to lead things off in the Bay Area with the 49ers.
Wow. Yeah. So this is very unique team offensively because they have an elite or maybe borderline elite tight end. I don't know how you rank them, but for me, elite tight end, an elite wide receiver, or not elite wide receiver, elite running back, and a really, really above average receiver, and a Brandon Ayuk, which I don't know how to classify him other than a weapon. But the problem is you have a Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback who realistically last year didn't throw the ball beyond 15 yards ever, and really relied on that run game. So this offense, I'm going to say, is very good, but it's also flawed. I do think there are some flaws. You can get to this offense. You have to make Brock Purdy win the game, and until proven otherwise, I'm going to stand by. I think it's flawed until proven otherwise. So San Francisco going to be very good, but flawed.
I think that's a very good spot, too, because the offensive line also lacks a lot of depth as well. It's Trent Williams kind of gets all the hype as the best offensive lineman, rightfully so. But after that, it gets a little bit shaky if someone goes down. The receiving core you mentioned, they're very, very, very good. And when all cylinders are firing, they're as good as anyone. But they have very, very brittle cylinders sometimes. So I think that's a very good assessment.
I mean, on top of it, you mentioned Trent Williams. You probably have the best fullback. You have the best offensive blocker. On the offensive line, you have the best blocking tight end. You have the best blocking receiver in Deebo. Say what you will about Deebo. I mean, that man can block anybody. But then on top of that, you have the best guy with the ball in his hands in Christian McCaffrey, and then the second best guy with the ball in his hands right now, it seems like, with Deebo. And it's like, there's no – I don't know. As long as they stay healthy, it's a weapon. There's like a whole lot of weapons there, but it's just, can they stay healthy? And then Brock Purdy, man, you really got to – I really got to question their whole quarterback situation constantly until proven otherwise.
Absolutely. And then maybe it's Sam Darnold. Like, there's a lot to worry about. If California Sam Darnold is a thing, like we joke about, like California Robert Woods is a thing, 49ers might be winning the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. We'll have to wait and see for sure. Like, that's definitely – we'll wait and see. And we know how quarterbacks always get hurt. But moving on before we dive into the 49ers gold mining wormhole, if you will, we got the Chicago Bears next. And I'm going to put them in the exact same category because what we saw last year was Justin Fields was a one-man offense, and he was quite electric. The Bears' biggest issue last year was they gave up way too many points. I mean, like the Lions game that they lost 31-30. Against the Packers, they're scoring 20 but giving up 27. Now you throw in DJ Moore, Chase Claypool with another year and a contract year. Darnell Mooney's sticking around. You bring in Robert Tonyan to add to the tight end group. Darnell Wright, the clearly most athletic offensive lineman available, considering he passed the receiver conditioning test by accident. And now you have a moderately better defense. At best, if it's moderately better, they'll have better opportunities. And I think Fields, now with a little bit more chance to grow, develop more of those getting the ball out of his hands, a little bit less superhero ball. I think very good. They're still flawed. That offensive line is still not elite. DJ Moore is awesome, but they're still a little – those number 2 and 3 receivers we got to see some more on. Running game, we'll see. Good, but flawed. Very explosive.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of the San Francisco 49ers, right? Like, you have all these weapons for San Francisco, whereas in Chicago, you have Justin Fields, maybe Khalil Herbert, and DJ Moore. So it's a little different.
Exactly. And we still have to see how they click because we've only seen them in preseason with 2 completions. Granted, DJ Moore leads the preseason in yards after catch off of those 2 receptions, so it looks like a good start. But regular season, preseason, 2 different animals. But so I like them there. Next, you got arguably we'll call it your AFC team if that's such a thing. Your Bungles here. So I think we have an idea where these are going.
Yeah, good luck defenses. I don't think I need to say more. This team is 4 deep at receiver now. You add in Irv Smith Jr. into this tight end core, which last thing you need to do is add in a catching weapon at tight end, and you still have Joe Mixon. Say what you will about Joe Mixon, but he's a capable usually back end of the top 10 running back by the end of the season. So a guy that can threaten on the ground, but he also does it in the air as well. That offensive line continues to get better. Last year, obviously, they added a bunch of pieces, but I don't think people were prepared to really play the positions, if you will. This year, it seems like you go out there and you add in another piece, and it's just like, oh, well, we just added in baby Zeus. No problem. Just baby Zeus on our offensive line. And now, as long as Joe Burrow's healthy, I think this team is good luck defenses. It's a weapon no matter what, because you can throw it up, you can throw it over, you can throw it behind, throw it underneath. Like, take your pick. Somebody's getting open, and just pick your poison for a lot of defenses.
If you got 1, you got 9, you got 5, you're pretty good shape for the Bengals. Everything else could be interchanged a little bit if you have those 3 somehow, which we'll see how much longer they have those 3. But that's a different topic for another day. Next, we got
count 83.
83 is nice, but I'm thinking like those other guys. There's
I know.
83 is really good, but 5's a top 15 receiver in the league, and he's number 2 on his own team. Anyway, I digress. We won't dive too far into this because now we got the
Buffalo. You're exactly right.
Buffalo Bills, who just miss out on the good luck defenses that are going to elite units because the offensive line is still a little bit shaky, and Josh Allen we need to see him cut back on those turnovers just a little bit. I don't mind turnovers when they're from like those big explosive quarterbacks like him, but they got a little bit too high last year, just a little bit and very bad timing in the red zone. I even said in our AFC's prediction, I think the Bills will be the best offense, the number 1 rated offense in football this year. But that we're going into the season in a tier, you can't put them at good luck defenses coming off of last year's turnover fest with some offensive line. Pretty good, but still has some holes, and we still don't know who's going to run the ball besides Josh Allen. So they get elite units because of what they can do, and just they have some nuclear warheads with Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. I love Dalton Kincaid. Josh Allen obviously is Josh Allen. So we're going to put them at elite unit, just missing out on that top tier.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think until you fill in that running back hole, I think you can't be a top good luck defenses type of offense. But I do think that they're very, very, very close. Pretty much the closest of all the teams that will not make that top tier.
Exactly. So that's a really good spot. So next, I wish we would have planned this one because this worked out perfectly. But you got not your Denver Broncos now. Where are you going to rank them?
So we're talking about the 12th worst offense in the league last year. Obviously, you have Sean Payton coming in, who's an offensive guru. You have supposedly Russell Wilson turning it around. You have Javonte coming back healthy. I'm going to say this offense is competent because I don't want to go above and give them too much. I don't want to give them very good but flawed. But maybe they are very good but flawed. They have a lot of good, skilled players
on IR.
But their big flaw is Russell Wilson at the end of the day. But at the same time, if Russell Wilson's on, this team we're talking is a potential elite unit. But right now I'm going to say competent because you didn't finish bottom 12. You didn't finish bottom 10. You didn't finish top 10. You didn't finish dead in the middle. A little worse than the middle. So it's competent. You're there. You know what an offense is supposed to look like. But you don't quite know how to play offense just yet. So we'll see what they can do this year. I do think this team has probably the highest ceiling out of anybody that I'm going to put anywhere, just because I don't think you can really go down with the talent they have. I think this is just one that needs to figure it out. And with Sean Payton, I think they have that opportunity now.
Even with your boy Tim Patrick out and Jerry Jeudy probably missing a handful of weeks too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Without a doubt. Courtland Sutton might be the most slept-on receiver in the league. And we're talking about he did things with Brock Osweiler and squad. Like, not really with Osweiler, but you get my point. Like, with dudes that don't deserve to be mentioned as NFL starting quarterbacks and Cortland Sutton made him look good. So Cortland Sutton, as long as he stays healthy, I think him by himself is going to be a very competent team and has a chance to be higher than Javonte. I mean, Javonte, we saw what he could do with put the load on his back if he stays healthy. That's a deadly running game.
Absolutely. And next, that's going to take us to the Cleveland Browns, who we're going to copy and paste most of what you said there and toss them right and competent. They have all the weapons. Question is, do you get Deshaun from that outlier 2020 season where he led the league in passing yards and completion percentage but won 4 games? Do you get the one that went to the playoffs and was really, really good in 2018 and 2019? Or do you get last year's last 6 games where he clearly looked rusty and a little bit slow and things were processing differently? How has he meshed with everybody? On paper, though, this team's absolutely loaded. So we're going to put him in competent with clearly room to grow up. But there's still some questions as well. So we're going to put him in competent.
Glow up works too. They could use a glow up for sure.
I don't want to glow when it comes to that team too much. They don't get the glow or grow. There's room to improve, I guess. They don't get too many compliments.
Honestly, I'm with you on this. But although I do think maybe they might be very good but flawed in a lot of senses, only because of Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper. We know how good they are. It's not like they've been bad the last couple seasons. But then the rest of the team is just flawed because you haven't seen those explosions, and you don't know what Kevin Stefanski is going to do. How bad can Kevin Stefanski really screw this team up? So that's my concern with putting him in competent. Is I feel like almost Kevin Stefanski can ruin the competency real quick and in a hurry.
That's fair. I like Kevin Stefanski, and I think he's done work with bad quarterbacks, so I'm curious to see what he does with one with all of that talent. But now, speaking of one of his previous quarterbacks, you got Tampa Bay and the Baker Mayfield experience.
Oh, man. Outside of Mike Evans and Cade Otton, I'm going to say this team is not good. This is not a good offense. Look, I know Godwin's there. I know you have Russell Gage. That's fine. Whoop-de-doo. This is not a good. This is not even the high point of the team, if you will. It's not even the second highest point of their team as far as units go. Behind the coaching staff, maybe not even third highest unit in the team. The training staff might even be higher than them as far as the rankings go for this team. But take out Mike Evans, take out Cade Otton. You don't got a whole lot left in this team. So there's a bunch of 2s and 3s in there. But there's not a lot of 1s, not a lot of go get him guys other than Mike Evans. And as I've stated 1,001 times this offseason, and I'm going to continue to state, I say Mike Evans will get his 1,000 yards continuance, but it will not be for the Buccaneers.
That's perfectly fair as well. And there's still a contract thing with him too, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. But that's now going to next take us to the Arizona Cardinals. And you know what? They were pretty bad last year with Kyler Murray, and now you have maybe Joshua Dobbs as starting quarterback. They do not. Yeah. They haven't even really announced. So this is a downright offensive team. Maybe James Conner's a good fantasy pick because he's going to score 4 of their 6 touchdowns this season. I don't know. There's not a lot to like there right now, so we're going to put the Cardinals in downright offensive. And, we're not going to spend too much time on it. Let's just go to these. The next few are actually pretty decent. I'll let you go ahead now.
Yeah, the Chargers, next one up. I'm going to say very good but flawed. And the flaw in this one is Brandon Staley. Again, same reason as Kevin Stefanski I'm concerned about. Just what they're going to do, and can they consistently not make the mistakes to get them out of games from the coaching standpoint? Because last year, offensively, if they're healthy, they're great. And also, that is also one of their flaws, is when they're not healthy, that's a big flaw. You can't have all the weapons they have in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, but the guys combined see 12 games or 10 games or 9 games, however many they saw last year. It's just not good enough. Not when you have a talent like Justin Herbert, not when you have Austin Eckler carrying the load like he does. This offensive line is being wasted right now, it seems like. But even they couldn't stay healthy last year. So I'm going to say this team is very good, but flawed.
Very good, but flawed. That's a good spot for them as well. And the offensive, they're just always hurt too. If they could stay healthy, it'd be much easier. Like you said too. I mean, if Rashawn Slater can stay out there, your offensive line's fortified, but until they can actually all play together for more than 8 quarters, they can't go any higher. This is just.
I need 6 games in a row from the whole team.
6 games period. They don't have to be in a row anymore. Just in 6 games period. But next, Kansas City. Yeah, good luck defenses. Even with Travis Kelce broken right now, you got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Good luck, everybody else. Next, moving on. Washington Commanders.
Yeah, Washington Commanders. This one I'm going to go with competent. Just because I don't know what to expect from Sam Howell. Brian Robinson, I think, is a good piece in the backfield. I don't think he's a great piece in the backfield. But obviously they have Scary Terry. There's no doubt in my mind. Scary Terry is that dude. which is why they're competent and not anywhere worse. But right now, I think this offense is competent. But I'm very happy to say that I will be proven wrong at some point in time this season. I feel like this team might get a little higher, but for now, competent seems like a good place. Eric Bieniemy will happily prove me wrong halfway through the season, and that's okay.
That's fair. I'm very high on the Commanders, is what everyone probably knows that's watched our cast, but you can't really rate them highly without seeing it. So that's a fair spot for them. So next, I got the Dallas Cowboys, and they're going to go in very good but flawed. I have my questions with this offense coming into this year. There's some pretty noticeable flaws. That offensive line is really good. I like Tony Pollard, but I'm curious about it as that number one back. I like CD. I like Brandon Cooks. I like Michael Gallup, but I don't really love any of them individually. So, and then there's obviously the Dak issue and the tight end situation. So we're going to put it very good but flawed for them. I think that's a good spot for them. They could be up higher. They can play at a higher level, but I feel like right now is the best spot for them. That's the best spot for them.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% agreement. Also, Dak needs to stop throwing picks.
Especially that.
But that'll take us to the Dolphins. Dolphins, interesting team with the Dolphins. They have elite players all over the place. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. You throw in the speed in that running back core as well. I'm gonna go with very good but flawed as well. But this is kind of the same concept as what we talked about the Chargers injuries, namely Tua. Tua is my flaw in this one. Mike McDaniel is not a flaw. Tua is a flaw. And until he can show me he's got a whole season under his belt, I'm not gonna ride with him too much.
That's fair. I have my doubts about them as well, so I think that's a really good spot for them as well. Next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, who honestly, this is a tough one for me because they do so many things so well. I'm putting them in elite units for no other reason than you kind of flipped your running back core on its head, getting rid of Miles Sanders and bringing in like DeAndre Swift, etc., and the change in offensive coordinator. I think we saw what Shane Steichen has done with Herbert. He's a really good offensive mind, as we have seen, not just with like one off with the Eagles, but previously before that. So I'm going to put them in elite units just to see how they are with a new coordinator. Obviously, things will be similar, but how similar are they? So they're just like the Bills. They are on any given day, they're good luck defenses. Honestly, more often than not, they are. But there's just that slight touch difference. And will they be as good if they don't get 70 sacks and have all those opportunities? Because that makes things a lot easier when your defense gives you that many opportunities. So them and the Bills are elite units, but by gosh golly, they could be good luck defenses at any given second.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just solidify that running back core and don't make Jalen do it all by himself. Mm-hmm. I think they become quickly a good luck defenses. And get a Quez Watkins that can actually catch the ball. Yeah. But that'll take us to the Falcons. I'm gonna say this. I don't think I can be hateful to the Falcons. I want to throw them in the improving category. I know we have our set 3 with the improving because they're rookie quarterbacks, but I think Desmond Ridder here gets a little bit of a bye because he adds Bijan Robinson. We didn't really get to see a full Arthur Smith offense last year because of injuries, because of various issues among that team. I'm going to say the Falcons have an unproven. If I had to put them anywhere right now, I'm putting them in competent at the very back end of competent, but unproven right now feels like a safe position for them.
I like that one as well too. So that's a good spot for them as well. We'll go and put them at the front of unproven because they have all those weapons. And I just really, really, really want to see them actually get Kyle Pitts the ball consistently. Quit using him as a blocking tight end. Quit using him like George Kittle. Start using him like Travis Kelce. You now have, what's his name? Jonnu Smith. There we go. You can use as your traditional tight end. Let Kyle Pitts just be a freak. Quit trying to cage that man. Let him be a freak. Just let him go out there and
use him as a receiver.
Exactly. Him and Drake London on the outside is just throwing alley-oops at this point. Like, just let that happen at this point. Don't overthink it. Let Jonnu Smith be your tight end. If they put safeties over the top, both from Bijan Robinson, the newly starting now running back for the Falcons, has plenty of room to dance. And all Desmond Ridder has to do is not get in the way. So I agree with you. I like that. There's a lot of room for them to go, but they can go up or down real quick. So I like that. Next, we got the New York Football Giants, and this is going to be my hot take of it. We're going to put very good but flawed. because they have a lot of things I do like about them. I think Daniel Jones is a top 15 quarterback, closer to 15, honestly. Not great. His legs make him very useful. Saquon Barkley is a top 5 running back, I believe, as long as he can stay healthy like we saw. Offensive line's really good. Darren Waller, when he's healthy, is really good. Paris Campbell is not too bad. And at the same time, I think there's some good stuff to work with there. So for me, I'm going to put the Giants at very good but flawed. Their flaws are pretty flawy though, and I think if Jalen Hyatt can do 80% of what he's doing in Tennessee, just be a deep threat, him and Paris Campbell gives them that vertical element. So we're going to put him at very good but flawed. I weirdly like the Giants and the Brian Dabble effect. We can't underestimate that. So I'm going to go with very good but flawed.
So I had to walk away and go pitch myself because you said something nice about the Giants. I didn't know how to feel about this right now.
Yeah, I've said more nice things about the Giants than you do about the Cowboys.
Okay, touche. But I don't think either of us ever say anything good about the Giants other than we like Ryan Dabble and pay Saquon.
After what after last year when I had them going 2-15 and they went on to win a playoff game, you know what, they suckered me in. So speaking of suckered us in, you got the Prince that is promised led Jacksonville Jaguars with newly minted Calvin Ridley as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very good group as well. Very good but flawed. And the flaw comes in the name of Evan Ingram, former Giant himself. Again, big issue there for me. And also, Travis Etienne as your starting running back. Is he a running back? Is he a split out type of back? You have Tank Bigsby that's projected to get 30 to 40% of the snaps this year. Like, what are you really doing in the backfield? And why does it have me so concerned about anything to do with your run game? Because, again, we talked about it earlier. Like, if you don't have a run game, I can't consider you an elite, period, point blank. Like, I can't consider you higher than you are right now. You have all the makings of an elite team, but you haven't quite been there yet. And they do have good talent. Obviously, we have to wait and see how Calvin Ridley is. But Trevor Lawrence by himself, what he was able to do, what this entire team was able to do last year, by themselves puts them in very good. Now you add Calvin Ridley in there, and we'll see what they can do in year 2 with this offense, because I think it could be pretty impressive.
I agree, too. I like that fit a lot. Next, we're going to take the New York Football Jets, and I'm going to double down on my hot takes with the Jets. They're going to go in very good but flawed as well. Their offensive line is shaky. Outside of Garrett Wilson, the receiver room is a little thin, but that's the best running back room in football right now. Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter is your afterthought. Aaron Rodgers, despite having a bad year last year, is still a top 15 quarterback realistically. I mean, his bad year is better than – compare that to Russell Wilson's bad year. We'll put it that way. That's all we'll put it. They'll put it that way. So I'm gonna put them at very good but flawed. Nathaniel Hackett's not a great offense coordinator. He's kind of a cheerleader. That is Aaron Rodgers calling the show there. But Aaron Rodgers calling the show, even in his advanced age, that's going to put you in very good but flawed alone. And I think Garrett Wilson's going to look like Stephon Diggs this year. That was my comp for him coming out of Ohio State. And I think he's going to look a lot like that this year, like a Stephon Diggs and DJ Moore hybrid as well. So I like the Jets. I'm going to put very good but flawed.
Hey, don't forget, cheerleaders can have great careers as coaches as well. Just look at Mike Tomlin.
Honestly, when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers too, having a guy like that is all you really need. Like, he almost more of a rah-rah guy that keeps him happy. Like, it's not even trying to downplay him because he is a pretty good head coach, but I'm not going to put him in the same category as Andy Reid, Dabble, and that sort of thing. So honestly, it just might be a perfect fit with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Rodgers did win 2 MVPs with him, so it might be not great for everybody else, but for Aaron Rodgers, he's the missing key. So however you want to slice it, we're going to put very good but flawed for the Jets.
He's the positive to A-Rod's bad high. That's what it is. Anyways, I'll take us to the Lions and head coach Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and the fighting Jared Goffs.
Raw Dog St. Brown.
Hey, I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown, don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, I have to put this team incompetent offensively. And I am the biggest Detroit Lions truther out there. I've stood by him for 3 years now. And I will say it again this year. Big pain having 3 of your receivers suspended. You cannot – this is tough. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs is quote-unquote going to be used in so unique ways nobody's ever thought of. Well, the fact is I've thought of all of them, and unless you're going to put them in offensive line like they did with Zeke, that's the only one that would surprise me at this point in time. Because I can think of all the other places you use Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm like, okay, it's not bad, but like I'd much prefer a real number 2 receiver. Or, that's not bad, but I prefer an actual tight end. Or, that's not bad, but I think Jared Goff's still a better quarterback. And it's not bad, but Jamal Williams was still a better running back. They got worse this offseason, in my opinion, and the suspensions really killed it. Now, don't get me wrong, you still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown deserves everybody's plaudits. He is an absolutely fantastic receiver, but that's as far as you go right now. You have Jared Goff throwing him the ball, and unfortunately, there's not going to be a whole lot more to go with it for 6 weeks. So right now, you're competent at best.
We agree with that one. I think Ben Johnson could get them into very good, but Flogsy is such an outstanding play caller and designer. But at the same time, it's like that. Like I said, they needed another receiver, and I like David Montgomery as that bigger running back, the goal line kind of traditional workhorse. Yeah. But I don't know how they're going to use Jahmyr Gibbs with him. 2 running back sets can work, and they needed Jamison Williams to be healthy, available, and take that next step. So we'll see. They could still be very good, but there's some questions right now. So let's
not forget they used 3 running backs on every drive last year. Like outside of when DeAndre Swift was injured, like they used 3 running backs on every drive, and now they're going to try to ride this 2 backs. I don't know what the Lions are doing, honestly. But
that's fair. They do have a good offensive line too, so you know what? That's fair. The lines could go up or down real quick, fast, in a hurry. And Jared Goff, let's see with Jared Goff. But speaking of what we'll have to see, we got the Green Bay Packers next, and they should go in unproven, but I'm going to be harsh. I'm putting them in not good. The receiving issue last year was it was okay.
You mean Christian Watson for 4 weeks and then nothing?
And then Romeo Doubs in very short spurts, and that was about it. Their offense, A.J. Dillon didn't score a touchdown last year. So, yeah, it's Aaron Jones or bust.
250-pound running back couldn't score on the goal line.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. The quad father himself, whatever you want to call him, the big tree trunk legs, like there's a lot to not like with Green Bay offensively. So I'm going to put them in not good with room to grow. Maybe Dobbs and Love, maybe Love can get the most out of the young guys, but yeah, I'm gonna stick him here not good for now.
I don't need to add anything to that. I wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely. So you know what? Next, you get to take on the New England Patriots.
Oh God. How much hate do I want to have on me right now? Screw it. Downright offensive for the New England Patriots. Look, your offense last year sucked. The only reason you won games is because your secondary scored. And then Bailey Zappi. That's the only reason you won games. And then you come into this season, and in the preseason, you cut Bailey Zappi. Yeah, you brought him back to the team. But you still cut the man who was the most successful quarterback you had. And then you're like, oh, this for an encouragement back. No, screw that. You guys brought in Colt McCoy, who you think is going to save you. The Colt McCoy is good for 3 wins.
Don't forget, too, our boy Matt Corral got signed to that team, too.
I love me some Matt Corral, but I'm going to stand by what I'm saying here, and I don't think it matters the level of quarterback there because you have incompetency in every other position, especially your offensive coordinator position. Say what you will about bringing back in Bob, but I disagree. I don't think he's that good. I don't like it. I don't like anything about this New England Patriots offense. I feel like Belichick at this point in time is like, I don't care anymore. I won my rings. I'm ready to retire. I'm letting my dogs make my draft picks. Something we do as a joke, he does seriously, getting paid millions of dollars. So I'm going to say New England Patriots are downright offensive offensively. Except the only exception to this is Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott inside of the 5. That is period. The only things that will be non-offensive all season.
That's fair.
Even Juju's knee is offensive.
There's a lot about Juju that's offensive too, so we're not going to dive into that one because this video is already getting long as it is. So next we're going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders. They get competent based on the fact you have Devontae Adams and you have Josh Jacobs, but there is not a lot else that's competent. The problem is you have the leading rusher and the leading receiver from last year, so I can't put them much lower in good conscience, honestly. But the rest of it is not very good. But those two alone, they somehow catapult you up to competent just because of those two. And then you have Hunter Renfrow in the slot, Michael Mayer as a slot receiver, or Michael Mayer is the new rookie tight end, and Jacoby Myers. So they get competent, but there's a lot I don't like still.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Let's take us to the Rams, and I'm going copy and paste everything you just said. Rams incompetent, or as placing them incompetent offensively, although they can be very incompetent at times. But look, you got Matt Stafford, still has a heck of an arm. Cooper Kupp, when he's healthy, still one of the best receivers in the league. But that's, again, where your offense really stops at. Your offensive line is still kind of holy. Your running back is, well, okay, I hope we're going with Cam Akers type of conversation. And then your tight end, I think it's still Gerald Everett. But in the pantheon of tight ends that are out there, that's bottom tier. So we're not talking great here. And then second receiver, third receiver, you got some asking and wishing and hoping for some talent there. So yeah, Rams competent for sure.
I like it as well. Next, I got the Baltimore Ravens. They're very good but flawed for a lot of the same reasons as the Chargers. Best weapons of Lamar's career. Lamar's outstanding. Pretty good offensive line. Mark Andrews, the second best tight end in the game. But we got to see it all come into action. Like, we have no idea how it's going to look. I like Todd Monken and getting him out of the Greg Roman offense. The Greg Roman offense is really good for Lamar, but I think spreading things out will utilize him even better. I think the running lanes are going to be massive for him as opposed to from those giant 3 tight end personnel formations. It's going to be a little shaky here and there. I don't know how much I trust those new weapons to stay healthy, but they're still when you have Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, you can't get much lower and a good offensive line. You're very good regardless. So very good, but flawed. They could very easily be elite though, if they could stay healthy. And if you get 85% of Odell in his heyday before that knee injury with the Browns, or even get what you got from the Rams, it's going to be a very, very good team.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have anything to disagree with the Ravens, except for maybe if they go through the season, everybody stays healthy. You're talking about an elite unit. If not, good luck defenses, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So that takes us to the Saints. Saints, I don't know where to put the Saints. We're going to put them at the end of very good but flawed. I do think Carr is still a mid-level average of average quarterbacks, which is all I could ask for. They add in my favorite running back, Jamal Williams, who is good for another double-digit touchdown here. Alvin Kamara will not be there for 3 weeks, but when he comes back, he's still going to be a dual threat out of the backfield between the 20s. He's not going to score you any touchdowns yet again for another year in his career. Also not going to get you over 800 yards, but that's okay because guess what? You have Mike Thomas, Chris Olave, Jawan Johnson. There's a lot of talent there in this team. I think they're very good but flawed, and the flaw being, can they actually put their talent together and stay healthy all year? And will Mike Thomas please put his ego in check for 1 year?
Let's hope so, right? If you have him as your number 2/1B receiver, that's a dangerous offense potentially. So that's a fair one. Next up, I got the Seahawks. I'm putting them in elite units. All Geno Smith has to do is do most of what he did last year. That's a dangerous team. Now, Jackson Smith and Jigba in the slot coming in, probably going to hit his stride midway through. DK and Tyler Lockett still get deep with the best of them. Kenneth Walker and a glass of Charbonnet, Zach Charbonnet at running back. 2 rookie tackles who overperformed. That's a very, very, very good team. So they're an elite unit that sometimes could play that good.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, outside of Geno, talent-wise, I think outside of Geno, you're looking at above average everywhere across the board. Geno by himself, he knows what he is. He is what he is. He's accepted what he is, which is a game manager. And when a quarterback can do that, they're an absolute weapon for their team. Even though they don't really have a lot of weaponry in their arsenal, it's always a weapon to having a quarterback knowing exactly what they're capable of. So I think they're an elite unit until proven otherwise this season. I think it's safe to say. But that'll take us to Pittsburgh, to the other side of the coast, to the other side of the country, to the other coast. Three Rivers, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Kenny Pickett. Lots of talent. I mean, there is talent there, but we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it sustained. Obviously, there's a lot of questions there. I'm going to say competent for this offense, although I'm really thinking by the end of the season, I'm going to be very wrong, and they're going to be very good but flawed, if not a potential elite unit. If they learn how to use their weaponry, Najee Harris looks good, but throughout the season, I'm going to say they're competent for now, though, until proven otherwise. It's just, competent until proven otherwise.
That's a good spot for them. Next, I got the Tennessee Titans, and they get not good. The only reason they're not worse is Derrick Henry. You take out Derrick Henry, they're downright offensive. So, yeah, that's all that needs to be said, right? There's Derrick Henry or bust. So that's where they go. So not a whole lot needs to be said with them. They're very short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah, that's going to take us into the final one, the Minnesota Vikings, the mid of all mids at quarterback. I'm going to put them at the back end of very good but flawed. And the reason why is because you traded away your running back. That's why you're flawed. You had talent. but you traded away Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson. We all know what they can do. The rest of your receiving core seems to be coming on. You probably have the best rookie receiver in Jordan Addison in the best position there. Not named Zay Flowers, obviously, but yeah, I think this is a situation where there's a whole lot to be thankful for in Minnesota. But right now, your running game is not one of them, and you had a chance to fix that.
Absolutely, I will say they have a lot of pieces, but they also need to learn how to block because they let Kirk Cousins get absolutely blasted last year. So they got to find a way to keep him upright as well. I mean, we'll definitely there's a lot there to like, but there's a lot to not like. So that's going to do it for the final Tier Tuesdays before the NFL season kicks off. We went through offenses. Some of our thoughts were offensive, some of them were defensive, and a little bit of everything in between. But that's going to do it for this one in Tier Tuesdays. And starting once the season goes, we're going to go ahead and be tearing off the teams each week as well, too. So you'll get to see our version of power rankings, if you will. So you'll definitely want to look forward to that. There'll be some hot takes and maybe some Monday morning quarterbacking happening on a Tuesday, or some overreaction Tuesdays, or some underreaction. So you'll definitely want to keep a lookout for that. But that's going to do it for this week on Tier Tuesday. Yeah, Jared. So that'll do it for us on Tier Tuesday. We will see you all again next week.